What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So in today's video, we're bringing back the how-to videos. I know whenever a new legend comes out, people always ask me, what type of characters work with this guy, what's a good team composition that I should use. So in this video today, talking about the brand new 5th anniversary legend being Kaido, and we're going to be going through his abilities, best type of units to use with him, talk about his pros, his cons, what type of things you need to know about this character, right? But before we get into that, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video. Have you heard about Raid Shadow Legends? If you haven't, it is a dark fantasy role-playing game. It's completely free to play and also has a PC version that does have cross-device play. So you can play on your mobile or you can go ahead and switch it up to your PC version as well. So you guys are right now seeing some gameplay as we're in the campaign right now. Of course, there is a fully voiced campaign in Raid Shadow Legends, of course. So we're going to go ahead and finish off here and just show you guys how the gameplay actually works, of course. So you've got all of your skills in the bottom corner and you can make sure you target the right enemy. Obviously this character is extremely strong here with this massive sword, but one of the cool things about this game that I really enjoy is the fact that sometimes you do want to go ahead and farm up a lot of materials for your characters, and that can be a little bit of a pain. But in the bottom left hand corner, as you can see, there is an auto button, so by clicking that you can actually let the game auto play through content for you, which means that you can also farm up your materials to level them up, level up your champions, as well as just doing other things. So I really enjoy the fact that there is an autoplay function in Raid Shadow Legends, and that's just one of the many great features within Raid Shadow Legends, of course. You can do this in the campaign mission as well. There's obviously the PvP arena, which obviously you won't really want to be doing auto, but auto is available in the PvP arena if you do choose to use it. We're about to finish up this mission here. One of my favorite characters is Coalla here. He has Acid Rain, which is an area of effect move. Absolutely phenomenal ability, as we just completed the campaign mission there just by autoing it, and we did level up, of course, as well. So there we go. That's showing you just a small glimpse of Raid Shadow Legends. Another great feature about Raid Shadow Legends is the introduction of the brand new Battle Pass. Now within this Battle Pass, you'll be able to get energy refills, upgraded artifact sets, some gems. You can also get your hands on some brand new epic and legendary champions, and this is all done by doing daily and weekly challenges. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and download the game today. Down below in the video description, using my personal links, you can download it on your Android device, your Apple device, or on PC. And also when you go ahead and log in, make sure to go ahead and click this part of the screen into the chest to get your hands on these free rewards with the new players program, which does include 100,000 free silver and 1 free epic champion known as Light Sworn. Just have a look at how badass this champion is. The armor looks absolutely amazing, and as I said, you can get this guy for free just by logging in with the new players program. However, these rewards will only be lasting for the first 30 days, so make sure to log in and get him now. So once again, links down below into the video description to download Raid Shadow Legends today, and thank you once again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. So thank you very much once again for sponsoring the video. So let's go ahead and get into it. So of course, this is the brand new legend Kaido. I've already talked about his abilities in length in my previous video, talking about his abilities during the batch breakdown video. But once again, let's just go through it very briefly before we get into this. So this character is a Dex striker powerhouse. Very interesting that he is a striker, considering when he first came out, a lot of people were predicting he was going to be a shooter. Would have been a little bit of an interesting situation if he was, but still looking at it now, I think striker probably works better for this character's team compositions as a whole. So his stats are very good, by the way. So this is his stats after his limit break. Now you have to add 500 HP with cotton candies, because of course, pretty straightforward, you want to be giving him HP and attack candies, because he's very important with his attack. You want to give pretty much every legend in the game, yeah, every character in the game that you give cotton candies to, you should give them max attack. Max attack always helps out. There isn't really a situation where you should give them max HP and recovery. It doesn't make any sense. But he boosts HP and he is very reliant on his attack, so pretty straightforward. So obviously he's going to go to 5,300 HP, 2,056 attack, 155 recovery. Very good statistics overall. So talking about his captain ability. So first of all, he reduces the cooldowns of Striker and Powerhouse characters by 2 turns at the start of the fight. He also boosts the attack of Striker and Powerhouse characters by 4 times and gives them a 1.25 times health boost. So very good already. And then this is where the awesome ability kicks in. So he does 400 times his attack in dex damage to all enemies at the end of each turn. So that will always happen unless if he is despaired. And he will also state that at the start of the fight, or at the start of the adventure, he activates his own special. This is a really cool mechanic because his special abilities is also very powerful. But we'll talk about, the pros and cons of this character. But obviously we got to pull up the calculator because with 2056 attack, 2056, he does 400 times his attack with end of turn damage, right? So that's times 400. So without including support abilities, without including other sailor abilities that boost his stats, you already get 822,400 damage at the end of every single turn in dex damage, which is very strong. So moving on, his sailor abilities. For some reason, if you do opt to use him as a sailor, he will give your powerhouse and striker character 75 base stat total boost, and also he can't be blown away, which can be quite useful, but in a lot of circumstances, because of what he does with his special, he's not a very good sub in my opinion. But he states that he cuts the HP of all enemies by 20% and he deals 400 times his attack in dex damage to all enemies at the end of each turn for 99 plus turns. This mechanic is very strong, as when your special is activated at the start of the fight, you automatically get this buff, where for 99 turns and more, you will also deal an additional 400 times his attack in dex damage. So that's already multiplied by 2, with his special ability being active for more than 99 turns, and his captain ability, you're dealing this much damage in dex damage to the enemy every single turn. And of course, if you actually have the double Kaido captains, both captain abilities and one of the special abilities, because you can't stack the special mechanics, of course, both of those will activate with the special. So that is actually multiplied by 3. So this is how much damage you get in dex damage every single turn. Very strong ability. And then it also states that he applies a continuous effect that cuts the HP of all enemies by 20% at the start of each stage, also for 99 turns. So every time you move into a new stage before the enemy activates their preemptive, he cuts their HP by 20%. So this ability is really strong because it means that when you move into a fight, if the enemy applies a barrier with their preemptive, this goes before the barrier preemptive. So you can get a 20% health cut and then they apply it. So it's a really cool, set of, abilities that this character has. So that's really strong. 16 turn cooldown is quite high for this particular ability, but it is a pretty strong ability, honestly. And because this is considered as a buff, if the enemy does apply an ability to remove your beneficial effects, it will remove this end of turn damage. But you can activate the special again and you'll get that buff back. So that's the way that actually works. As for his potential abilities, he has Enrage of 300, which also counters into his end of turn damage. Also Reduce No Healing, so recovery bind duration reduced by 7 turns, and he completely resists slot bind, which is a very powerful mechanic. But let's go ahead and talk about what are the pros and cons of this character. Obviously, the main pro to this character is his end of turn damage. The 2.4 million damage that you can deal for free every single turn. It is extremely strong and is definitely one of the biggest draws to this unit. Another great thing about it, unconditional 4 times attack to striker and powerhouse. To strikers, that is still really good, but to powerhouse, bro. Powerhouse are one of the best classes in the game, if not the best class in the game. They have access to some of the best legends. V2 Katakuri, Sanji and Judge, Snake Man. There are so many good characters in this game that are powerhouse, and this character can utilize them, so that's very strong. Additionally, the -2 cooldown that he gives as a captain ability is very useful, and like a lot of people say, oh yeah, the cooldown's really good, it allows you to clear content faster, which is true, but I think that a lot of people don't realize that that's actually very important for his build. Because of his end of turn damage, you are wave clearing very fast, and this honestly goes into one of his cons, which is the fact that he basically doesn't allow you to stall. Because of the amount of damage that he deals every single turn, you cannot stall for your specials. So the fact that he reduces cooldowns by a significant margin with his captain ability is very important to his build. Another really good thing about it is because, as we mentioned, Powerhouse being one of the best classes in the game, and all those great other units we mentioned, it means that if you don't own Kaido yourself, you can still run him as a friend captain with another powerful of your own captain, right? Like the captains that we mentioned, V2 Katakuri, you could go ahead and use Sanji and Judge, you could go ahead and use Snake Man, you could go ahead and use Stampede Luffy if you have him. Lots of good options there, even if you don't own Kaido yourself. He can work well with a lot of other legends in the game. as we mentioned as well, there are going to be some bad things about the unit itself, and of course the fact that you don't get the stall, that is a pretty big deal. But of course, if you plan your team out correctly, you can just wave clear all the content anyway, it doesn't matter. But in very difficult pieces of content, not being able to stall could hinder the character in some ways. Also, the fact that normal attacks only and barriers hinder his ability to deal damage because of the end of turn damage being so prevalent in this unit. Normal attacks only basically makes all that damage go to 0, and barriers, obviously his damage doesn't pierce through barriers, so you have to go ahead and break the barrier for your end of turn damage to break through it. So that's pretty self-explanatory, but it is still a negative to the character. Also, the fact that he doesn't actually give you any beneficial slots. It's actually kind of interesting, right? Because even Quick Whitebeard, he's another character that works perfectly with this unit because Quick Whitebeard also boosts Striker and Powerhouse. But Quick Whitebeard also has that same issue where with his captain ability or with the special ability doesn't provide you any beneficial slots. So you have to rely on your subs or just other units around him to provide some beneficial slots to your team, right? Which isn't that big of a deal for Powerhouse. Powerhouse are really good at clearing content anyway, but it's just something to note that is not a very good thing about the character is he doesn't give you any beneficial slots at all. Mainly just relying on the end of turn damage to help you clear content. So what are some of the better ships to run with Kaido? Now you got to remember Kaido is a powerhouse and a striker, so there are definitely ships that can fit very well with that, but obviously as it goes, Ho is one of the best ships in the game, especially because it also reduces your cooldowns by 1 at the start of the fight, as well as giving you EXP boost, which is always useful. But reducing cooldowns is always going to be a very unique mechanic to have, especially for Kaido, because you don't want to stall. You want to just wave clear the content as fast as you possibly can, and Ho's ship definitely enables you to do that. So with 2 turns of cooldown with each captain, that's 4 turns. With sockets, it's an additional 2 turns, and then 1 additional from the ship, which gives you 7 turns of cooldown at the start of the fight. Very, very good. Now, another ship that I really, really love is the Zunisha ship, the Zo ship. Of course, it boosts powerhouse characters, so if you are running a team of only powerhouse units for Kaido, definitely run this ship. It gives you the ability to make tandem and meat orbs beneficial, which of course, as we just mentioned, he doesn't give you any beneficial slots. So any type of way in giving you more beneficial slots is going to be good. Also, more HP is always nice, and 1.55 attack is a lot better than most ships, so that's really, really good. Now, in terms of the striker side of things, there is a couple of ships that you have, which is the Going Luffy Senpai. This one is the boosting the attack of strikers. You need to make sure you have 6 strikers on your crew though, so this means that I wouldn't suggest this if there's any content that blows away your characters, because this actually hinders this ability, so don't use it for that. But if you are running a striker team and you don't have to worry about your characters being blown away, this is really, really good because it reduces the cooldowns of striker characters by 1 turn at the start of the fight, so it's an additional cooldown ship as well, and it has a special ability which allows you to tank damage. So if you have a full striker team and you don't need to worry about blowing away, this is fantastic. Another one is the bike, Aokiji's bike. It is a 1.5 times attack and HP boost, and reduces the appearance of recovery orbs, which, if you are running a team that just has a lot of HP and you're just blowing through content, you probably don't need to worry about recovery orbs. But even if you do need to heal, right, you use a character like Legend Marco, who is a fighter powerhouse, works well with Kaido, heals you back to full, essentially will heal you back to full. So that's an option as well. And there are 2 other ships that are really, really good, but it depends on the situation, right, which is the, oh my god, which one is it? It's the Marshall D. Teach ship. This ship is really, really good, but the condition to fulfill it will be kind of tricky with a Kaido team, because you need to have a striker, a shooter, a fighter, and a slasher. And of course, he boosts strikers, but he also boosts powerhouse. So it means that you need to have a character that's either striker shooter or striker fighter, or is a powerhouse fighter, powerhouse slasher, striker slasher. It's really difficult, but if you can fulfill the conditions of the ship, it's probably worth running. It's very, very good. And the last one we want to talk about is the Germa 66 ship. Again, very hard to fulfill the conditions because you need 1 of every color, but if you are able to do that, it will greatly benefit your team as you get 2 turns of cooldown at the start of the fight, greatly increasing the chances of Kaido being able to use special abilities with your crew, of course, and he gives you extra HP, 1.55 attack. It's a great ship, honestly. It's just a fantastic ship if you are able to utilize it. Okay, so now I want to quickly talk about what are some ideal captains to use if you don't have Kaido yourself, because I know some people are going to walk into this Suga Fest, they're not going to get Kaido. I understand that. I hope I can pull him myself. I hope you guys can pull him as well. But what are some other captains, hypothetically, if you don't pull Kaido yourself? So, obviously, it goes without saying that the character that released very, very close to him on JP, which was Quick Whitebeard, and now Global has his Super Evolution. He's also boosting Striker and Powerhouse characters. He also reduces cooldowns by 1 at the start of the fight. He himself is a 2x attack booster and a 0.7 chain booster for your crew. He is so good. So if you have quick Whitebeard, he works very well with him. A captain that we just mentioned before as well, which would be Snake Man. Snake Man is so good, universal attack booster, or universal attack booster in terms of his captain ability. But of course, his special ability as a sub is going to be working really well under Kaido as well, because he gives you the orb boost, a chain boost. He's really nice. But you know, it's actually really nice to run this type of combination, because when Snake Man's your captain and then you use his special, he gives you those orbs as beneficial. And if you are running predominantly Powerhouse, you can have the Zunisha ship, which makes recovery in tandem beneficial, and then all the type orbs are beneficial with the Snake Man special. So in this team composition standard, that's really good. So that will work for a lot of content. Also reduces cooldowns by 1 at the start of the fight. Really nice. And also an HP booster as well. So another thing as well, we mentioned as well, Stampede Luffy. He boosts the attack of Strength, Dex, and Psi characters. Both, we got Kaido, who is a Dex character, of course. You've got Luffy, who's Powerhouse. So they work very well together. So as long as you're building a team of Strength, Dex, or what is it, Strength, Dex, or Psi characters, and making sure they're either Striker or Powerhouse, this team composition would work very well. Also, Stampede Luffy as a captain makes the Strength, Dex, and Psi orbs beneficial, so getting more beneficial orbs is always really nice. And I guess in that same vein, if you have V2 Jinbei, technically, yes, you could use that as a team composition, as they boost the same types as Stampede Luffy. But I wouldn't suggest using V2 Jinbei in 2020, honestly. Lucy is another good one. So everyone's going to be getting Lucy for free after 7 login days on Global throughout this anniversary, right? So the fact that you can get your hands on Lucy and use him as a very good partner is pretty awesome, right? Especially when he gets his Super Evolution, he becomes even better. I think with his Super Evolution, though, I don't think he is a Striker character anymore. I'm pretty sure, right? He's a fighter free spirit. Yeah, that's correct. So it probably is worth it to try and save that other Lucy that you're going to be getting. So if you want to run a composition with Kaido, then that is a really nice option. Also, Lucy is a type booster, so that's really nice. We also mentioned before, Sanji and Judge is a fantastic combination to use here, as they are a powerhouse attack boosting captain. You can run, you know, the team composition of one of every color, but remember, you got to make sure you either running either powerhouse or striker characters with Kaido. But if you run one of every color, that works even better. But still, even with just mono powerhouse without each of the colors, it's still going to work very well. Sanji and Judge is also a fantastic sub for Kaido, being a 2x attack and a 2x orb booster for powerhouse. And they have that amazing switch ability where you can get that combo boost as well. Dude, Sanji and Judge are so good for Kaido. Another dual unit, Whitebeard and Marco, which he's been out for a while now, but also a really good option. When you switch between Whitebeard and Marco, they're either considered powerhouse or striker units, so it works perfectly. Whitebeard and Marco, they boost all colors, but predominantly they give a bigger boost to Sign Int. But saying that though, this team composition would still work reasonably well. If you are running mono powerhouse, once again, you could use Cracker as a captain. Cracker is also a fantastic sub, because Kaido being both striker and powerhouse fills both of the conditions for Cracker's special ability to get not only the chain boost, but also the color affinity. So if you are looking for your Kaido team to output a lot of damage, you definitely go ahead and do that. Or if you want to have some sort of ability to get around, you know, the enemy orbs that you get given, perhaps you get a full board of empty orbs or a full board of block orbs, Cracker is fantastic for removing that, as well as, you know, giving all of those boosts. So Cracker is a really good option. And the last one that I want to talk about very briefly is V1 Katakuri Super Evolution. His Super Evolution should be coming very soon to Global. Now, his Super Evolution does change in the fact that he will boost the attack of Slashers, Strikers, Driven, and Cerebral, and Powerhouse. So he does boost both classes that Kaido is. But, you know, running a team composition like this would be very tricky, because you need to fulfill all of those conditions. But if you are able to put predominantly Powerhouse and Striker units, this team would absolutely wreck house. You know, I can't wait for V1 Katakuri to get his Super Evolution. It's so good. But, you know, those are just some characters that are some SugoFest exclusive characters that you may own that work really well, either as a captain with Kaido or even as subs for Kaido as well. Okay, so now I've compiled a list of characters on this notepad here that we are going to be going through, and are just great characters that you should try and aim towards, or if you don't have them yet, hopefully pull in the upcoming SugoFest, that work very well either as subs or as like friend captains for Kaido, but in most situations you want to be using these characters as subs for Kaido. So first off, we're going to just talk about a couple of other legends, and then we'll go into some regular rare recruits and some free-to-play options that are really, really good for Kaido, right? So the first one is Vivi and Rebecca. Vivi and Rebecca is a fantastic unit, right? So obviously when it's in the Vivi form, she's a cerebral free spirit, but she's a striker when in Rebecca form and a striker in their dual form. So that's really useful. But the main component about this character that is so good is that she provides the ability of a 2x color affinity for 2 turns for your striker and cerebral. So predominantly you're focusing on striker, but they also reduce all turns of rainbow and blue shield buffs on the enemy, which is so good. And when you activate the switch ability, changes strength and dex on striker and cerebral into matching. You get 2000 guaranteed recovery, and you get a 2.5 chain lock, all just from switching. So Vivi and Rebecca are one of the best subs in the game for Kaido, especially if you want some sort of healing mechanic, especially if it's a difficult piece of content. Vivi Rebecca is what you want. Another one that's really good that I really need to talk about is Shirahoshi Mancherry. Now, Shirahoshi Mancherry is really, really nice here because striker form in Shirahoshi and striker form in the dual form. But the really important thing that we need to talk about this is the fact that their special ability not only gives you a full board of matching orbs, which with Kaido he doesn't give you naturally, but the fact that they remove 10 turns of any status ailment that gets inflicted to your team. This is the only character in the game currently that can remove normal attacks only. So if you're inflicted with normal attacks only for 10 turns or less, this character can remove that, which will enable Kaido's end of turn damage to activate. So this is a really useful character to have if you have her, but of course most times when you're inflicted with normal attacks only, it is typically going to be more than 10 turns, but in the opposite situation where you can remove it, then it's a good character to have. Another one is Legend Nami. So Legend Nami, especially with her Super Evolution, she's really good. So she's a striker which boosted by Kaido, but it will go ahead and state that it will reduce paralysis and burn by 3 turns and gives your Free Spirit, Cerebral, Powerhouse, and Driven characters a 1.75 color affinity and a 2x orb boost. So again, just a useful unit to give you some more damage output. Another one that we have here is Guild Tesoro. Guild Tesoro doesn't really see much play nowadays, but he is very, very good. The main component why you'd want him is because he is a 3.25 times chain locker, which is good, but he also changes your top row and your bottom row orbs into matching. So of course, Kaido not giving you any beneficial slots, you can have this guy and put in, like on the bottom row, let's say if you're against a strength unit, you can put your 2 quick units at the bottom. They get guaranteed matching orbs with the Tesoro special, 9 turn cooldown. So, you know, with all your specials ready, like he's going to be ready very, very quickly on a Kaido team. So that's something to note as well. We already talked about Quickbeard as well, being a 2x attack boost, so he's a fantastic unit as well. Legend Garp, who again is another character that really doesn't see much play. He is a powerhouse unit, and he will go ahead and remove Special Bind on your crew by 3 turns, but he also is a 3x chain locker, and if you don't have normal attacks only active, he also cuts the enemy HP by 30% that ignores damage negating abilities and barriers. So if you're able to cut the enemy HP as well as deal Kaido's damage, bro, you're going to be dealing so much damage and killing enemies so quickly. So that again is another legend option. And the last legend option I want to talk about very briefly, there are others that are striker and powerhouse that work really well, but these are just ones that I thought that would definitely see play, is V2 Big Mom. So V2 Big Mom being a striker in her normal form, and her just a regular forms are all striker, and also powerhouse as well in her dual form. So no matter which form she's in, she's always being boosted by Kaido, but she has that really powerful special ability. If you're above 50%, you get a 3.5 times chain lock, and you also get that really nice ability of the stat boost, the base stat boost, which also increases the damage output of Kaido's end of turn damage. So yeah, V2 Big Mom is one of the best subs you could probably run specifically for a Kaido team. But talking about just some other characters that are going to be available, so let's talk about Coliseum Hody Jones, who is going to be the next Coliseum arriving on Global on the 25th at 1900 PST time. He is a powerhouse striker and a dex character, same class and type combination as Kaido. Special ability is powerful with a 20% health cut and reduces bind to spare and special bind by 5 turns, as well as resisting special bind by 5 turns on himself. So he's just a really powerful utility based unit, so make sure to farm him up when he is live. Next one we have is another Coliseum unit, is Coliseum Neko Mamashi. Now, the really good thing about this guy, he's also striker and powerhouse, the exact same class combination as Kaido, and with a powerful special ability where if the enemy has an all debuff protection or delay debuff protection when you use the special, he gives your striker and powerhouse 1.75 attack, and all of your orbs, including block, are turned into matching. So that just fulfills the big problem that Kaido has that I mentioned earlier in the video, is that he kind of struggles to get matching orbs, right? So if you have a character that guarantees you a full water matching orbs, as well as gives them a type boost, not much really goes wrong here, and such a low cooldown as well. Coliseum Neko, really powerful sub for Kaido teams. Now let's quickly fly through some other characters. So we got Nami. So time skip Nami goes without saying. If you are able to run time skip Nami on a team where she's boosted, it's going to work out very well in your favor. A lot of people know what she does now, reducing paralysis and special bind by 5 turns with 2 turns of delay. Not really much bad to say about this unit. This unit is so strong. Considering how old she is, she came out on the 2nd anniversary, or like, yeah, the 2nd anniversary, right? Dude, this unit is 3 years old, and she's still probably the best rare recruit in the game. The regular 5-star rare recruit, she probably still is. Next is Parris Sparrow. Goes without saying, he's another one of the best rare recruits in the game, in my opinion, with double special activation to get his ability through multiple different stages. Being an all blocker as well, reduces health of the enemy, reduces cooldowns of your crew, which is useful for Kaido, and is a color affinity booster for strength, dex, and quick. So if you are running predominantly strength, dex, and quick, not only could you run this, but also Legend Lucy, which we talked about a little earlier on in the video. So that's a really nice combination. Next is Opera. Opera is also a really, really good unit. I love this unit, being a fighter striker. Special ability of giving you a 1.75 orb boost and a 1.75 color affinity if you use his double special activation. So he's really nice. It makes sight orbs beneficial for fighters, doesn't matter that much, but he can't be blown away, which is kind of cool. So, you know, if you are running that the Bartolomeus ship and you are worried about your characters being blown away, I mean, like, that is a really nice mechanic to avoid that. So that's pretty cool. I love Opera. Really, really nice unit. The next one that we can talk about is Neptune. So Neptune, the one that I'm thinking about is the Coliseum Neptune. Now, you can also use the Neo Neptune. Both of them are the same sort of thing. Reducing despair, attack down by 5 turns, just really good utility. Reduces resilience by 5 turns. Doesn't really matter on a Kaido team because his end of turn damage ignores resilience anyway. But he will also reduce the defense, and he's a 3-turn orb booster for Cerebral and Powerhouse, but the Dex version is actually slightly better for Kaido because he is Striker and Powerhouse, and also boosts the orbs of Striker and Powerhouse. The only difference is he gives himself a beneficial orb, so if you're running predominantly Powerhouse, I think it's better to have the Int character, unless if you're against a quick enemy, of course, but this unit is also really, really nice. It's just another Dex unit on Kaido. If you're running double Kaido with this unit, like, it might be a little bit tricky running so many Dex units on the team. Let's talk about another one, Magellan, another Coliseum unit. Really powerful. Everyone knows how good this unit is. A self-proccing 1.75 conditional booster. He also reduces, what is it? He does defense. He reduces the defense 100% for 2 turns. He reduces threshold and rainbow shield for 2 turns. And he is the conditional booster, which self-procs as well. Yeah, this unit's really good. There's not really much to say about Magellan. One of the best free-to-play units in the game. Make sure to farm him if you don't have him yet. The next one that we have on my list here is Hyozo. Hyozo came out with the V2 slashes. He is a powerhouse slasher. He is a really good unit because he reduces, despair and special bind by 5 turns. So it's kind of like Coliseum Hody Jones. He does give you beneficial orbs as well and switches your slots 3 times, so that's kind of cool. He does poison 1 enemy, which is interesting, but like the main reason why you'd use this character is to reduce the despair and the silence. So he's kind of like just a rare recruit version of Coliseum Hody Jones, but it really depends on the situation that you're in. Another really good unit is Praline. So Praline came out with V2 Jinbei. She is a powerhouse unit, so works very well with Kaido, of course. Really low cooldown for the ability to reduce the increased defense, percent damage reduction, and threshold by 5 turns. So the biggest defensive effects in the game, she can remove them by 5 turns, and also does some orb manipulation and healing. Like, that doesn't matter. What you really want is this. This is a very, very powerful mechanic. So it's really nice that Praline is an option that you can run on the Kaido teams. Another character that also came out with V2 Jinbei, surprise, surprise, is this rare recruit Hachi. If you don't have this guy, dude, he is so good. So he's also a powerhouse unit, but he is a self-proccing 1.75 conditional booster, which will go ahead and, I think it's reduced defense? Yeah, it reduces the defense. And he also is an orb manipulator with block, tandem, G, and bomb orbs changed into recovery orbs. So if you are going to be running this, it's better to run the Zunisha ship because, you know, there aren't too many characters you could just run that just make recovery beneficial for your whole team. But, you know, if you are going to be running predominantly powerhouse, then the Zunisha ship with this guy is going to work so, so well. Let's move on. So, another character is, of course, Big Mom. We're talking about the treasure map Big Mom. Where is she? Where is she? Here she is. Treasure map Big Mom. We all know how good she is. Probably the best treasure map unit in the game, in my personal opinion. The fact that she just gives you a full board of G orbs and gives you a 3 times orb boost, 1.25 attack, 1.25 color affinity. Like, this special alone gives your team so much damage, it is ridiculous. If you haven't maxed Big Mom yet, what are you doing? Make sure to go ahead and max this unit. She is so good. Next one is going to be Dex Cracker. So this is the Raid Cracker, right? This is mainly just an option if you struggle to get matching orbs, because he gives your team a full board of Dex orbs and makes them beneficial, and he gives them through block orbs as well. He also cuts the enemy by HP by 20%, which ignores barriers and defensive effects, which again, doing that and then allowing Kaido's end of turn damage to hit, like, you're just clearing enemies much easier by doing that. So that's a really good option. Another unit as well that I can think of is Coliseum Smoothie, another really good free-to-play character. The reason why I suggest her, because again, she's boosted, but she also will make Dex, Quick, and Int orbs beneficial for your Slasher and Powerhouse characters. So if you do struggle once again to get some beneficial slots, having beneficial orb enables is going to be nice. But she's also a 3-turn color affinity booster for both Slasher and Powerhouse, so that's really nice. And then the last pair of units that I want to quickly gloss over is the World Journey units, being Reiju being the first one, right? I know a lot of people won't have the World Journey units, but I want to discuss it anyway, because I love this pairing of Reiju and Sanji. They work so well. So she removes poison and blindness completely, and if your crew has 3 or more characters with recovery orbs, boost the attack of all characters by 2 times for 2 turns. And then even still, you still get a 1.75 attack for Slasher, Powerhouse, and Fighter characters, right? Now, you can actually fulfill this condition very easily if you do use that Sanji. This Sanji is really nice, also a Powerhouse unit, and his special ability changes adjacent orbs into recovery, so if you put, you know, both of them in the middle, it's going to work out perfectly. If your HP is below 30% when you use the special, you get a 2 times orb boost, which isn't going to happen too often, but you still get a 1.75 orb boost anyway. So if you use both of them in the same turn, you get a 1.75 orb boost. It may be 2 times if you're below 30%, but then you're guaranteed to get the 2 times attack boost with Reiju. So that's a really nice combination with the World Journey units. So there we go. That's the full run through of just some of the units that I would suggest for Kaido teams. But, you know, this is already a really long video. But, you know, hopefully you understand now just some really powerful units that you guys can work towards or potentially pull in the upcoming Sugo Fest that work exceptionally well with Kaido. Just look, if you run a team or just full of strikers and Powerhouse, most of the time, especially if it's easy or mid-game content, you're going to just clear through it anyway with Kaido. Just as long as you have the right utility units to get around some certain gimmicks, you're not really going to have too much of an issue. Remember, his entire batch that he releases with also work really well with himself, such as Speed, such as Hold'em, and also Jack Rare Recruit. So put that in mind as well. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.